several years ago when our church, New Holland Mennonite, when we were exploring with Bridge of Hope what it might look like to become a neighboring partner with a young woman in our community and her 4 children, I wasn't sure this thing would fly. I knew the family, the wonderful family, but I also knew the reality. Resources were low and needs were high. Needs for housing, social services, medical care, transportation, and more. And we were a small congregation, 40, maybe 50 on a Sunday morning. How could we take this on? And I remember saying to my wife, Brenda, why does Pastor Don keep stretching us so thin? Felt a little bit like Tevier in Fiddler on the Roof. How far can we bend before we break? But hope can't wait. It can't wait until all the resources are in place. It can't wait until everything fits together nicely. Until all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Hope calls us to act when all we see is fragments. And even those fragments aren't very clear. So 6 of us from the church met with the Bridge of Hope staff, and they reassured us that we wouldn't be traveling this journey by ourselves, that they'd be there to support us, to give us the shoulders to lean on when we needed to. Bridge of Hope would provide the financial counseling and help address some of the social needs that were present. And we as a church would come alongside the family, celebrating birthdays, sharing holidays, and hosting backyard picnics and barbecues. And since I was the motorhead of the group, I took on helping with any transportation needs that were necessary. Well, at the time, the family had a small car that was really on its last leg. And I had already replaced the fuel pump. Transmission was shot, so there was no more reason to put any more money into this particular car. But there were no more resources for a vehicle. How are we going to do this? And so I started asking around, and some of my mechanic friends pointed me to Steffi's Garage in Leola, where a van had been donated by someone who simply said, well, just give it to someone who needs it. Needed some work, but the total cost of the bill for the van was about $1,500. Well, that could have been $15,000 to us. And so I began tapping some of my friends again, wondering how in the world we could get a loan for this car, or where would we get resources to buy it. And that's when a friend of mine stepped forward and offered to buy the car outright. He asked to remain unnamed, but I'm deeply grateful for his quiet conviction that hope can't wait. Now, even though it was a good van, had about 125,000 miles on it, we knew that it was going to take some regular care to keep it on the road. And so I asked the 2 boys in the family if they would help me to keep it running. And they were 8 and 10 years old at the time. You're laughing. I was too. But they were eager to learn. And we started with the basics. Oil changes, tire pressures, rotating tires, checking fluids, replacing filters, keeping good records of the work that they had done. And then that Christmas, I gave them a small toolbox so that they could begin doing some of their own work on this car. And I kept checking in with them along the way. Well, a couple weekends ago, they were back at my place working on the van, and for a little extra practice, helping me to get some of my mowers and tillers and tractors ready for spring by changing filters and checking tire pressures and so forth. It was giving them a chance to expand their confidence in what they could do. Because this is about more than maintaining a vehicle, it's about equipping them with skills and a sense that they are capable of doing this kind of work. And of course, these times together have become about more than just mechanics, more than just fixing things. They've given me the chance to get to know them, their interests, their challenges, and what makes them tick as a teenager. It's opened my eyes to the realities of being a teenager today. And we've learned from each other along this way together. This partnership with this family and with Bridge of Hope has been a rich and wonderful experience for our congregation. Now, that's not to say there haven't been moments of deep frustration or times of discouragement. There have been. But we've been amazed at how working together, playing together, and simply being together has bonded us in meaningful ways. We are the richer because of this journey of neighboring together. And I am grateful to Bridge of Hope for the vision that hope can't wait and for bringing us into this partnership together. Thanks, Bridge of Hope.